Welcome. I'm glad to have you here today. So, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Kim Roth. I'm a tech and automation specialist for service based business owners who are tired of spending their nights and weekends with their computer. I have over 20 years' experience working in the IT department at a local manufacturing company where I was always tasked as the figure outer when it was time to implement a new process or a new system. My goal is to always find the easiest solution because errors can happen with manual processes and calculations. Plus, they're time consuming. And now I've taken those skills and work primarily with building solutions using Go high level software like FG funnels and some of the other white agency labeled software that's out there. So I'm so excited to have Caitlin Harrison here with me today. She is a designer. She does a lot of WordPress websites and funnels. She's an expert at branding. Caitlin and I have worked on quite a few projects together, and I'm always amazed by what she pulls together and what she creates for her clients. I'm technically certified in design, which in my opinion means I know the basics, like the basics. And I can work with a template and your brand colors, but if you don't have your branding figured out or you want more of a custom design, then I send you over to Caitlin. And that's some of what we're going to talk about today. So, Caitlin, please tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I absolutely love working with Kim. So I am a graphic designer by trade. That's what I went to school for. I spent 15 years in like print publication designs for a couple different local magazines and newspapers. So similarly, that it was sort of I was the figure outer, and so I know how to kind of take designs, and I agree in keeping things simple but beautiful. And then I've leveraged that into creating WordPress websites and funnels that really sort of get to the point really quick while also really reflecting who the business owners are.
Yes, and that is something that you are so amazing at.
Thank
Like
you. Thank
the
you.
brain power that goes into that is so different from, I feel like, with the brain power that I use. Like, I feel like I'm a problem solver. So you tell me your problem, and then sometimes, like, immediately I'll have a solution, or by the next morning, I'm like, all right, I have a solution. Let's do it this way. And that creative process just works a little bit differently. Like, I don't think you can just pull it out of your hat at the like,
No, when I start working with a new client, the biggest challenge is kind of getting it's all simmering in my head for a week or two where I might not be sitting at my desk working on your project, but I am envisioning things, and then it's getting it from the brain to, like, paper to the computer is always the fun and initial challenge of branding work, because then once all that's established, it's like a waterfall. Like, once you know what your logo is, which is just one piece of the brand, but then the colors, are there patterns, are there textures, are there icons? Once all of that's established, everything is just, like, kinda smooth sailing after that. I mean, problem solving for sure, but, like, once you know what everything looks like, it's easy to puzzle piece everything else together.
yeah. But that initial design phase or
Yeah,
that creative
yeah.
space, like, you need to give yourself the space to just think. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think we undervalue the thinking. Like, we can't always just do without being able to just kind of take that time to think and create.
Yeah. Yes, the creative brain space, um, to let everything percolate and come together is really crucial, and it's hard to fully, like, time block out, you know what I mean? Like, you can
When it happens
obviously,
every
there's
hour.
yeah. Yeah, there's obviously always needs for sticking to deadlines and keeping a project moving, but that this initial phase, which I'm currently in with a client, is the really fun but challenging part of, like, time and energy and making sure that what I come up with is super custom and matches their personality.
Now, does it still feel like work, or is it more like fun because you get to use your creative juices or
It
blend?
is fun, it is fun. There is just yeah, it's a little, pressure to make sure that you get the design answer, but, it's really fun
Yeah.
because then when you start getting ideas that flow out, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be so cool."
And then you get the feedback from the client and
Yeah, doesn't always go my way, but it's okay. That is also part of being a professional.
yeah, part of the creative process.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I think that's true in all processes that we kind of need to give ourselves grace because sometimes that initial idea isn't like the best idea and you need to
Mhm.
improve on it or see changes. Or when you show it to a client, then they come back and they're like, well, what if we do this?
Yeah.
Yes, that it was the missing piece.
Yep. I do love when that happens, yes.
And did make it so much better. So I know a lot of my audience here, like they're either just starting out or maybe they've been in business for a while. Maybe they don't like their brand colors, but they aren't quite ready to invest because it is an investment when you work with someone like Caitlin in order to figure out your brand colors because it takes time and takes energy from both parties. And it's also a financial investment in your branding. So, what do you tell people when they're just starting out? How do they know what brand colors to pull in or where they should even look? Or how, I'm like, where do you start?
Yeah. I always say start really, really simple. So if it's your business name or if you're a personal brand, your name, I would start with a really simple type and call that, make sure that you can build some things in Canva. I do want to caveat that Canva is not an official place to make a logo. You don't have any sort of copyright claims or anything like that because you're pulling from other people's templates and stuff. But it's a great way to get started that if you put everything in one typeface and then use that same typeface throughout, you're gonna start getting that instant sort of cohesive look. And with colors, I always say pick 2 colors as your main, like a light and a dark, and then maybe a pop color. And go simple. I mean, blues are sort of a default, but they are just super clean and polished. Black and white can't go wrong. And if you're in something really specific, I would just always say keep it simple, but you could lean towards pinks if you're really feminine or, navies, grays if you're looking a little more masculine. But no more than 2 fonts and no more than 3 colors.
And keep it simple. Because what about the pretty script fonts? Like, I see so many people try and pull the script fonts in, and then I'm like, can't read it.
They are very, very hard to read. They are often way overused. They can be great for 1 to 2 words in some sort of, like, logo lockup. I wouldn't be using it for headlines. I could use it maybe for, like, coming soon or, like, 1 or 2 words throughout your sales page or your graphics, but, yeah, they are tough, and there's also a trend of, um more, like, funky looking fonts, more retro, and those I'm finding them really hard to read, and I caution I always say stay with the sans serif, they're so clean and timeless, and serif, where they have the little, like, feet are also pretty classic. It is gonna give you more of a corporate look, but if you're going corporate, those are good too. I like to keep it kind of classic.
Yeah. But a clean look is
Mhm.
what you're going for. And I know I see a lot when you're talking about colors, I see a lot of black, white, and like hot pink.
Yeah.
That for the
Yep, and that I mean, again, that kind of works, especially if you're getting started. I also wouldn't overthink it because you wanna get started to get your business rolling, get your clients in, and then you can always have this conversation later. Like, as long as you look clean and professional, that's gonna get you started, to figure out where you go next.
so it's not a big deal to do a brand refresh later on.
No. If anything, it's easier to do it once you're more established that you know who you are, who you serve, and what you like and don't like, because 'cause you'll
Mhm.
also have been out in the world. Another thing I really love to do with clients is, like, sort of competitor research and/or go find me sites and logos that you like, even if they're not anywhere near your industry, because then I can sort of, like, peek behind the curtain and see what you're gravitating towards.
That's a good idea too. So Pinterest board.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so like that's branding, colors, and fonts. What about templates versus custom? Because I know I've had people come to me in the past and they're like, I really want a custom design. And I'm like, all right, you need to go see Caitlin. But I also have people come to me and they just want something quick and simple. That's usually when a template comes in. They want something quick and simple. What if they can't find a template they like? Because that happens quite a bit too. Then, like, what is the best path to take then?
Templates do really get you going. Again, if we're trying to do that sort of like minimum viable product, like get the most simple template you can find. And, as you start to grow, you can sort of do like a hybrid situation where you can start swapping in customized graphics, customized backgrounds, customized colors, icons, things like that. And that can really transform a template where the base is still sort of that setup that you've pulled together, but you start adding in your own personality. And it's not going to really look like a template anymore. Because at the end of the day, like the word template can also be that there's like a formula for what a sales page content should have and how it should flow. Whether you're actually taking a template out of the box or it's going to look templated because that's what people are expecting. I think that templates can be like not necessarily a double-edged sword, but like it's a word that can mean two things where it's like we're following a path that the viewer of your website expects to see a contact button. They expect to see a call now button. Like they expect to see these things. And so you're not really going to be reinventing the wheel every time when it comes to that anyway. So, like I said, templates are a great way to get started. And then there's ways to kind of layer on top of it to sort of really transform it.
But even then, if we keep them simple to start with,
Hmm.
then we can always add to them,
Yep.
add pops later as like, I mean, I like I like watching and seeing what other people are doing because you're like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yep.
I did that because I think we all grow and evolve and we see things we like, and then that's our opportunity to kind of put those in play. But if we keep it simple to begin with and just launch it and get it out there without overthinking.
Hmm. And keeping an idea of when you keeping like an idea folder or Pinterest board. I have a client that we're past the logo design phase, but we're not starting the website design phase for a little while. And she's just kind of she's throwing stuff to me like, oh, I saw this, and like it was like a billboard. Oh, I saw this, and I really liked this design treatment. And so like we're kind of compiling all of that because we're probably gonna get started later this year as her product comes together. So it's not a bad idea to start saving things early, whether you end up ever touching them again. That way you're not like, oh, I saw that thing. And then you can't find it.
So, okay, so what is your recommendation? Like, where do we put all those things? Canva, Google Doc?
I mean, I'm a little bit old school if I save the photo out and put it in a folder.
Mhm.
That way if links change or anything like that, it's not there. I usually have private Pinterest boards. So if it's a pin, I save it that way. But if it's a Google image, I usually save the Google image into a folder that's called like brand inspo.
Perfect. So, like, Google folder, call it,
Yep.
yeah, branding inspiration, and just kind of keep your stuff there. That way you always
Mhm.
know where to go to look for it.
Yeah, because Google Images change all the time. So you wouldn't, if you bookmark it, that bookmark might break, things like that. You could dump it into a Canva document or a Google Doc. That's just extra steps, I think,
Yeah.
saving the photo out.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm all about keeping things simple. So
Yeah.
and that when you have it on that Google folder, then when you hire somebody, you just give them access to that folder,
Yep.
and then it saves time for you too during that
Yep.
branding process.
Hmm.
So that's great advice. I love it.
And Pinterest boards you can share as well. So that way you've got it in two places that are really easily shared.
Mhm. Sometimes I struggle with Pinterest because I can't always get like the
Yeah.
exact image I want isn't always the one that will show on my
Yep.
board. So like,
And again, that's why saving it out too just really helps because Pinterest pins also change. So
yeah, yes. So I love that advice. That's perfect.
great.
All right. So we're going to tie this back to funnels and automations because, that's what I geek out on. What was one of the first things you automated when you started like with FG funnels, which is a go high level software?
The calendar, I think that that's kind of like an easy one, but being able to go into networking rooms, Facebook groups, things like that, and being able to have a calendar link, where they can go find a time and it all automates after with the reminders and the option for them to reschedule if things happen. And then, um, to geek out with you, I just, set up an automation where if it's a no-show, it automatically sends an email like, "Hey, sorry you missed. You want to reschedule?" Which I had not been doing for a while, and that is, like, also just great because when you're doing coffee chats and stuff, things happen, people miss meetings, and before it would just kind of be like "Oh, fine, I gotta go email them now." This took one more step off of my plate.
Yes, because you can just drag the card over to, like, the
Or
no-show.
in the calendar, you can just click no show and it
Oh,
automatically
perfect. Yeah.
expires, yeah.
Yeah. And then yes, because 'cause I'm the same way. Because then I'm like, "Oh, great, I'm gonna have to email them later," so I jot it down on my notebook, and then I never
Yep,
get around to doing it.
yep.
So, yeah, so I love that automation. Do you also have, like, a freebie funnel that you send people to?
I do, I'm in the process of changing it out because of course I am, but it is great to get people on an email list, give them something that sort of shows who I am and what I do, but yeah, so that was another one that I set up. I was more resistant to that one as a service provider, so again, the calendar was the first one, mostly because freebies I mean, I'm sure you also have a whole folder of freebies that you've collected all over the internet, and so, I resisted a little bit, and now each time I come up with a new freebie, it makes more and more sense, but
Yeah. I mean, it's
that's
a
also the
yes. I mean, and it's a great way to just get people on your email list and start building it. One of the favorite sentence that I like to use with that is like, "If you don't want any more one more freebie, like, just get on my list because that way we can, continue to stay connected. Like, you don't need to look at my freebie, but it's the best way to, stay connected to me is just
Yeah.
email."
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's hard too, is to not keep continuing to create a
Mhm.
freebie or a different sales page, like to be like, do I really need one? Or will my old one work?
Yeah. But again, the idea that design and your business is never really finished, I've shifted a little bit of how I'm working, and that's why I think a new freebie is what I need to kind of be the more the more clear on-ramp to what I'm gonna try and talk to everyone about after. But again, making it slow and steady and not just blowing up your business every time you have a new idea.
Okay. And it's also the permission. Like,
Mhm.
create today doesn't mean that you can't tweak it later or create something new later that better represents your business. I mean, I've changed my freebie a few times too.
Yep.
Used to work only with Kajabi. I had a Kajabi only freebie. Like, well,
Yep.
that doesn't work out. But I could take that. I took it and I just made it more generic. So
Mhm.
could work for more software. It didn't have to be Kajabi specific. So yeah. So it's that permission.
Yes.
Always have that.
Always be Yep.
Too.
Yep. Always be open to what's coming next.
Yes. So, okay. So one last question. What has been the biggest benefit you've seen to implementing funnels and automations in your business? And I know you just touched on it a little bit with the calendar
Mhm.
funnel, just like being able to just click a button and have that automatically go. What are some of the other benefits that you've seen?
I think that it is just a way to save time and some brain space. I think as business owners, as women, as I'm the mother to a young kid, like there's a million things going on in my brain at any given moment. And so to know that some of that stuff is taken care of automatically in the back end, it's a game changer. And the more and more I embrace it, the better it feels.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think that's key. Like, what are the things you're writing, scribbling down on the notebook to handle the end of the
Mhm.
day that could be automated and kind of reviewing those constantly to see what else you can do. Because, I mean, my kids are grown, but I'll do that too, where I'm like, I'm just going to go send a couple emails. And 2 hours later, my husband's like, I thought you were just sending a couple emails. Well, then I read a few. And
Yeah. And then, yeah, I always say it's sort of like that if you give a mouse a cookie, like you start with one thing, well, then I need a glass of milk, and then I need this, and now I need that. I mean, that's either leaving my house to go run an errand, all of a sudden there's 8 more things I should do, or it's sitting down on my computer. I'm just gonna touch base with this one client. Oh, well, then. So,
and look, they're doing this. And oh, wow. But yes, we gotta go check out someone's sales page or opt into their freebie or yeah.
yep, yep. Reply to that message, all that. So, but yes, working with you and partnering with you has been really helpful because you're always giving me new ideas on things I could automate better, and I'm always, I need to talk to Kim about that.
They a lot of times with that, it's just voicing it And that's with everything. I think with design too, like, we get hung up and copy, but just, like, voicing it to somebody else, they're like, "Oh, well, just do this."
Yeah.
"Oh, well, I've just struggled over that for the last 2 hours, and you told me in 5 minutes." "Okay, great." Okay.
And that's what I love about the online business community, though, is everyone is not everyone, but most people I come across with are very open and giving and just it's amazing.
Yes, it definitely takes a village.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing all your wisdom. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.